All right, what's going on, everybody? So before I get into the main topic, we've been getting a lot of information, gameplay, and topic coming out of Gamescom, and it's a lot of information and content to to absorb. But it's definitely great. I don't know. To me, it seems like Gamescom this year is almost more like an E3 for some reason, with the amount of reveals that we are getting. Gamescoms in the past are similar in what we've been getting, but I feel like the amount and the quantity is just way more with what they've been throwing at us, which is, like I said, definitely a great thing, but it's just feeling more of an E3 to me. Now, with all of the content that we have been given, one of the highlights for me was Mafia 3. Some of you may have seen my BG plays for Mafia 2, which I did, just seemed to do just in time. I did it, just like a week before they announced that Mafia 3 would be revealed soon. And Mafia 2 was a very good game. It was mostly praised for its story, and it definitely had solid gameplay, but a decent open world for that time. But it was kind of linear to consider it an open world. But one of the I think one of the rare things, in my opinion, there's a lot of games that get praised for gameplay, but I think in current day you'll come across a lot less games that get praised for its story. And I think a lot of people thought that game, like many other games, would have, really good gameplay and just a decent story, but it kind of ended up being the opposite. Mafia 2 had a really good story and just decent gameplay. The visuals were what they were for that time, which wasn't bad. Obviously, it had a better Xbox 360 version, like many other games. I still remember the PS3 had like Mario blocks of grass. We're not gonna get into that. That was just comical. So they released both a CGI announcement trailer and a gameplay trailer, which I was surprised by. I actually thought they would only give us an announcement trailer, but they gave us both. And they gave us a lot of information in the CGI trailer, which I saw first. And it's one of those CGI trailers which they try to give you so much information. It was so much information in that CGI trailer. They set the tone. They gave us a lot of information about the main character, Lincoln Clay, who is a biracial Vietnam vet. The game takes place in New Orleans, or as some people like to be overly correct and say New Orleans, but nevertheless the gameplay takes place in New Orleans. They introduced us to a few new characters and one returning character who is Vito Scaletta. I was very happy to hear that he was returning in this game. So this game does take place in the same universe as Mafia 2. It's not like they've created a whole new game and it has no connections to Mafia 2. There is a direct connection in this game, and that's Vito Scaletta, like I said, who is the main protagonist, who is one of his lieutenants in this game, as well as two other main characters, one who is Irish and the other who is Haitian, and they all have their own crime, family syndicates and everything like that, and they're teaming up to go against the Italian mafia, which I will be getting into a little bit more and explaining the question that you see above, which I saw, I felt it was very ignorantly asked by many people. But like I was saying, the CGI trailer was amazing, and that's the reason I didn't think they were going to give us any gameplay, because I thought it was going to be one of those teaser trailers where it just gives us information but makes us wait for the gameplay. But they gave us gameplay. The gameplay looks like a muchly improved Mafia game, more expanded open world. It still has you can tell that kind of unique touch that the Mafia 2 had as far as the shooting, the movement. Hopefully it's a little bit smoother and everything. I'm sure they'll do that. And I saw a few innovative things in the gameplay, whereas such as the mirror, the rear view mirror when he was driving. The developers made it an emphasis that you could make sure you see what's going on in the background, like when you have when you have these sequences where you're taking out other cars and such, you can actually see what's going on in the background. And that's been an issue in many other games. Developers have never tackled that, so I thought that was very smart of them. So in the story, I have no doubt about the story in this game. I'm pretty confident that that's going to be really good, as Mafia 2's was. This character, Lincoln Clay, seems to have a lot of substance. He's not your stereotypical black or biracial person that is portrayed in many other games. And I'm really interested to see this character, how many layers this character has, his complete backstory, and everything about this game. And the visuals are looking good so far. But to finally get into the topic, like I said, in these different videos, I saw a lot of people complaining and asking the question, how can the game be called Mafia and the main character is black? And I just thought it was very ignorant, because, well, to answer the question very simply and plainly, the main character can be black in this game because you are not part of the Mafia in this game in the traditional sense. You are taking on the Italian Mafia. That's why he has all these lieutenants, because they actually want to go to war with the Italian Mafia for their own reasons. So they're teaming up. So that's why he can be black in this Mafia game, because they're taking on the Italian Mafia. The second thing is, for all these people who have never cracked open a history book, the Italian Mafia was not the only mafia in history. Now, the word mafia was originated in Sicily, right? It is an Italian word, and mafia was originally associated, synonymous and exclusive with the Italian mafia. But after that, the word became a general term for any organized crime syndicate that at least strived enough to become what they call a mafia. The reason people automatically associate the word mafia with Italians is because, like I said, they originated it, and they were the most infamous, and as far as in the media goes, they were the most paraded and celebrated mafia. So all these people asking that question are pretty ignorant. And I've even seen people go as far as saying this makes no sense to them because they're ignorant, but this makes no sense to them. They're not going to buy the game because they don't want to play a black guy in a mafia game. It's not a lot of people who've said that, but trust me, in the comment section, if you go through them enough, you're gonna find those comments, which is ridiculous, because people have absolutely no problem playing as characters that are completely outside of reality, completely fictitious. We can play as characters based on myth and legends and everything. We can play as a 6'2" Spartan with the ashes of his family, who's a demigod, and take down all the Olympians. But people have problem grasping a mafia game with a black guy as the protagonist. Nah, that's just too hard for me to handle. I can't. It's just too outside the bounds of reality. Ridiculous. But I'm glad this game is tackling racial issues. I'm really happy about that, and I am glad. Let me say this, right, because this is a topic, race in video games has been a topic that's been brought up before, as far as main characters being black, and how African Americans and many other races, many other minorities are underrepresented in video games, right? And this is something I've said before. I don't want a black character in a video game for no other reason than he's black, right? Lincoln Clay, for example, when you look at the CGI trailer, it explains why it makes sense that this character is biracial or black. It makes complete sense to the story. There is reason and logic for it, and the whole story and the whole game is backed up by it, is set up by it, right? So I don't want developers to just put in black characters just to say, hey, we have a black character in our game. Okay, why? What does that do for the game? Now, I'm not saying you have to have some type of deep reason or anything, but if you're doing it just to be politically correct, nah, don't do that. Because I'm sure they don't have a reason necessarily why they make so many white main characters, right? It's not about that. So I'm not saying you have to have a deep reason to put a black character as a main character, but don't do it just to be politically correct, right? And like I said, I'm so glad this main character doesn't seem to be a paper thin story stereotype, because even though I do like characters like Franklin from GTA 5, Franklin has no substance really. I mean, he's what you would expect from a 90s movie from the hood, right? That's pretty much what he is. I like him, but there's so much more dynamics to a black character that they could display and they could explore. And it was also brought up a few years back. I forgot who it was, but somebody made, he had a YouTube channel, and he talked about a similar topic, and was saying that, he was talking about how African Americans were underrepresented in video games, and how he said he was gonna buy Prototype 2 because he wanted to support this sentiment of a black character in a game. And I thought it was ridiculous, because listen, I didn't like Prototype. I'm not gonna buy Prototype 2 just because the main character is black. That doesn't make any sense. But I really liked Mafia 2, so I think it's just the icing on top of the cake that the character is black. He has substance, he has layers, and there's a good story behind him, and he has an interesting background. So that's the situation where we should see and we should want diversity in video games. Not just about black characters, but all races, if it makes sense to the game. That's my thing. If it makes sense to the game, not just to be politically correct. So I know this was a long video, but I had to talk about this topic. Let me know what y'all think. Peace.